Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Welcome, all of you, to the week of the physical week of the month related to the constellation of Leo. Remember that we are still in the month of Leo, even if yesterday has started in our sidereal calendar the time of Virgo, okay, the constellation of Virgo, because we are not following the sidereal astrology right now. We are following the ancient calendar related to the constellations, which doesn't have any correlative with what we are working today, what we have today as a sidereal calendar, okay? So we are not talking about an astrological month, what we are doing. We are here working with the calendar related with the concept of the constellations and not the astrological aspect or the timing of the constellations, okay? So today we start with the last week of the month of Leo, okay? So in 10 days, it ends. So just to be clear, what I wrote today maybe was a bit complicated somehow, but just to explain you, to tell you about this, I just put the first line, and I have no idea what I'm going to write. I'm just allowing the higher self to express, to talk, and so I start to write, and the information that is around is coming. So sometimes, even for me, it's sometimes hard to understand what I wrote. I have to read it again. So I will try to explain it a little bit. Today, even if it was weird to understand, everything was related with the head. Today, our day is related with the head, with the physical aspect of the crown chakra, okay? And the crown chakra is anchored in the physical way of the gland that we call hypophysis. I know that in English, you don't used to call it hypophysis. You used to call it pituitary gland, but I don't like to call it pituitary because pituita is the name in Latin for nuts, okay? Because they used to believe that that gland was the one created the nuts. So so I think it's disrespectful for the spirit. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, the thing, I don't know how to say it. So the thing is that this gland, the hypophysis, is under the hypothalamus, okay, and is a small gland where the crown chakra is anchored, okay? So this gland is the one that materializes the crown chakra. So the energy of the crown chakra is there. It means that this gland is the one that connects the whole higher self inside our body, because this gland, which is the hypophysis, is the one that organizes, that makes the balance in between all the other glands, is the one controlling the hormones, okay? So so kind of is the most important gland because it says how to work to the rest. So it's the gland in charge of the homeostasis, and homeostasis is to have balance in the whole body, okay? If we want to reach for that gland, we have to make a line in between our ears, and in the center we will find that tiny gland. So it means that when the pineal, the hypophysis, the pituitary, the hypophysis gland is trying to make our body in balance, in harmony, is also related with the organ that tries to make us be in balance and not to get dizzy, which is the liquid in our inner ears. Okay, so the hearing is the sense that tries to put balance, try to put balance in our body. It's because of our ears that we can walk still, straight, and don't get dizzy. So when a person gets dizzy, it's because it's because you are trying to get in balance, because you have maybe a problem of unbalancing. So it is because of the ear. It's related to the center, to the hypophysis gland. This is why the balance of ourself is related with our head coming up like this, from up below in our higher self, and the balance in our ears. So here in the core of the brain, of the head, we have the balance of the whole self. What the higher self was trying to explain is that when we feel dizzy, when we lose our balance, is because we forgot how to be harmonious. Because this chakra is related to the hearing. To hear is the tool that we have to understand that is music, talking, the words. And we must know that one of the biggest problems that we have in our humanity today is that we don't know how to listen. Maybe it's happening to some of you right now. That we are waiting so much to hear what we want to hear that we don't wait and listen what is being said. And this is one of the biggest problems of humanity, not to listen. We usually speak louder in order to cover the other people talking, because we don't want to hear what they have to say. We want to put our idea on it. And this is something that can show us very in a practical way when a person is disconnected with its higher self. When a person doesn't listen, it's because that person is not listening to itself. So this is one of the main practical ways in which we could understand, to realize if we are listening to our higher self or covering its voice with many questions. And of course, many times we try to impose to put over the others our own beliefs, because we are not finished to listen the other ones. This usually happens to the outside, but this is not because it happens outside. The most difficult part of it is that we cannot listen inside. To be able to listen to I am, we must learn how to listen. And I will share you a practice because, of course, in the physical aspect, we must begin with the task. So the task would be to realize if, when you speak, the first word that you say is over the last word of the other person. This could be very difficult, above all for Italian people and Argentinian people, I know, but it's something that we must practice. We must learn how to listen, because the I am connects them to hearing. This is why when we start to connect ourselves with something, we start to hear voices, sounds. I heard the voice of someone, whatever. Sometimes it's not just because there are other people speaking to us from another dimension, it's just because we are starting to listen to ourselves, all the voices that we have within. And this starts to open the capacity of listening. So the task would be to, when you speak with other, realize if you start to speak over the other, or if you can wait until a space after the talk. This is a physical practice that we need to practice a lot. If we want to learn how to hear ourselves, first of all, what we have to do is to learn how to listen to the others. Everyone clear with the task? Let's do it. So sometimes, for example, that there are people asking, give me an example. I cannot do an example because I am just myself. But for example, a good example is when I am speaking and some people are doing questions. So I would say just wait until I speak, because some of the questions that you may do, you will lose the possibility to listen the answer, because you are making questions that I am answering right now. So that's an example of how we are willing to receive more information, and we lose the information that we are receiving in that moment because we are expecting to receive something different. Of course, this way of acting is very natural for humans, so maybe it would take like years to be worked, and it's not necessary to work that if you don't want to. As I said, there's no need to, but if you are willing to listen your higher self and you want to listen your higher self, so what would be helpful would be to start by listening to others until they finish. One of the other explanations that the I Am gave was about music, because it's something that is related with listening. So I don't understand much about music, but trying to understand it, maybe I can explain that, for example, everything is just one sound, it's just one vibration. And in order to be understood by us, we took vibration and divided in concepts that we call notes, music notes. The main notes that they repeat constantly are 12. So these 12 are divided in the plain notes that are the 7 main important that we all know. I guess in English is C, D, E, blah, 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 until B. And the medium ones that are the sharp. Okay, so sharp, E sharp, so on. So this vibration, they constantly they repeat themselves into low vibration and high vibration. So these notes had different aspects, but mainly we have a physical aspect, energetical aspect, and mental aspect that we used to call the body, the soul, the spirit. This keeps going. It's not just those 3. It keeps going to the higher self, to the masters, to the guides, to the divine, and in the other side, the low vibration, into the nature, into the darkness, and so on. So this constant expansion for us is just 12 nodes. And these nodes are divided in ourselves in these chakras. These 12 nodes, we have it in our own body, divided in different chakras. So each day that we are working in these weeks, we have 9 of them. We are working each day. So 9 days starting here, then each of the chakras until the feet. And then the last day, which is the Taurus day, the toroid, we work with 3 of them. One below our feet, the other one over our head, and the other one is the high heart chakra, which is the expansion of everything. Okay, so the Taurus is the joint of 3 more. The total is 12. What the higher self was trying to explain that in these 12 nodes, we have groups of 3 nodes that creates an accord. These accords are the ones that create harmony in a melody, in a song. Okay, so these 3 together, one of them represents the physical aspect, the other one represents the emotional, and the other one the mental, the mind. So these chords aligned, they represent a beautiful sound that resounds beautifully inside our ears. So in the hypophysis, the spirit, if I make a mistake and instead of doing the chord that sounds like touch it, sounds like they won't sound properly, and I will hear like noisy, like something horrible. This is exactly the same as the universe is hearing from ourselves. When we are incoherent, these 3 notes doesn't sound good. So instead of sound beautifully in between our body, our soul, emotion, and our mind and the spirit, we sound horribly, like noise. In order to sound like a beautiful song, there must be alignment and balance in between what I do, what I feel, and what I think. So learn how to listen. Let's do the alignment for this last week. Sorry. So let's sit in a comfortable position. I'm going to put the music while you position yourself. So the vibration we are going to use today is Sa. Sa is the path and the spirit. So the statement for today is, I am the spirit's path. The code of today is related with the sound hum, which is the exhalation of the universe. So it says, this way, the soul sighs while seeing the wonderful generation, product of its energy and emotion, of its love. The third H is hum, exhalation, where the ideas of the spirit and the emotions of the soul become physical, action, matter, body. It's the moment of the great expansion, of the enormous explosion that originates our reality known as the Big Bang. So today the spirit creates the matter. Just a tiny thing before we start. Some people were saying about if Om and Hum is the same. It's not the same. Hum is the concept of the expansion of the universe, and Om, or I would say better, Om, that sound is the joint of all the vowels, which are the first sounds of the whole universe, of the creation. So this is the main sound that created the expansion. We could call it Om for friends because it's really difficult to pronounce it. So let's start caressing the body, making a massage to the body, stretching the body, yawning. Take a deep breath, dejando caer el peso, letting the weight fall down. I relax my body. I focus in my breathing. Use my imagination to feel how the oxygen goes inside my body, to my lungs, my heart, blood, organs and muscles. I become aware of the heat that is within my body. I become aware of all the light of the I Am that surrounds me, from the emotional and the mind level. I perceive myself as a temple. Watch yourself as being a temple. It doesn't matter the shape. It can be your body. It can be any color, any construction. I observe the light of the emotional level of the I Am as if it is the moon over my skin, my construction. And I also perceive the I Am shining like the sun, projected light, its light all over my temple. I contemplate myself surrounded by these two lights. One is warm, the other one is fresh. Take a deep breath, and I go to recognize this temple. I use my hands and I go from the very top of my head in the crown, caressing softly each part of my head until my jaw. Caress your face, your forehead, nose, ears, hair, every part of your head, as if you were a child, knowing for the first time this part of your body. Let yourself know each corner of your head, caressing, touching very softly. I recognize this part of the temple as the cupola, the highest part of the temple, the one closer to the light. Softly, I make a soft massage in circles at the sides of my head, close by the ears. And I take my fingers to touch and massage, caressing each corner of my ears. Take a deep breath. In the inside and the outside, in the back of the ears. And very softly, I start to massage the atlas back on my head, going between the spine and the skull. Up and down, very soft. And in circles, I start to press towards the ears, to both sides of the head. Go pressing until my forehead over my third eye. And I go back to the crown very softly. And I start to make a massage in circles to the head, moving the thing around. And softly I start to bring all this energy below from the crown to every direction of my head. Softly I relax my arms. Take a deep breath. deeper and deeper, bringing the light of the moon of my emotional and the light of the sun of my mental deep inside my head. As if it is a perfume, I smell it inside my head. I allowed the light to come inside to the cupola of my temple. I perceive how the light that was outside my body now starts to shine in the core of my brain. I start to feel, to perceive my brain, how it starts to get enlightened. Both hemispheres, right and left. I perceive the interior, the hypothalamus, cerebellum, the spine, every nerve. And I watch inside of my brain, below the thalamus, a beautiful pearl shining, my hypophysis. Take a deep breath and recognize that in this tiny pearl is the whole potential of what I can feel and perceive of my reality, is the anchor of my spirit in the matter. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath and start to pronounce the vibration, making this gland vibrate and shine brighter and brighter towards whole my body. Sa, 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 sa. I keep pronouncing the sound. Sa, sa. I watch as I pronounce the sound, how this gland starts to shine and activate the other glands, pushing to the creation of hormones that allows me to feel my emotions and to understand my thoughts. Take a deep breath. I recognize the potential of the spirit within me. I can bring the spirit within me. I can be the spirit. I can be the spirit. Take a deep breath. And I take my hands to the sides of my head. Touching with the tip of my fingers, close by the ears. And I recognize the potential that my body has. I am the path of the spirit. I am the path of the spirit. I am the path of the spirit. I recognize that the spirit created this body as a temple where it can experience, feel, and live. Take a deep breath. I relax my hands. And I start to caress my fingers softly, my hands, and each part of my body. Stretching the body, yawning, and coming back here and now, each one at its own time. And I open my eyes, and like this, I anchor the I am in the hypothesis. So remember, as a task, as a homework, listen to the other one until the other one finish talking, and then I start to talk. Practice. Thank you for being there, and see you tomorrow at the same time for the pineal gland, the third eye. Adios.